All right.
Hi.
Welcome, everyone. This is Paul. I'm Paul Thorn-Kazai. I'm the Business Development Officer here at Elevaid. I'm glad to see you all at our hands-on demonstration, which is a part of Global Evaluation Week. If you're not familiar with it, Global Evaluation Week is a unique knowledge-sharing event connecting a global community of people across sectors and regions. Over the course of this week, participants from all over the world, including you all, are joining events in their neighborhood or across the ocean to learn from each other on a vast number of topics and themes, allowing participants insight into how their work fits in with the regional monitoring and evaluation M&E ecosystems and the larger international M&E community. Glocal helps to inspire and energize a global movement, individuals and organizations who value the power of evidence to improve people's lives. In general, I'm going to be giving the introductions, introducing a little bit about Elevaid. Then Armen Grigoryan, the founder and director of Elevaid, is going to give an overview and a demonstration. Then we'll have a Q&A period. So during the whole event, please feel free to put in questions you have into the messaging. I'll be there monitoring, and then I'll gather questions so that we can have a back and forth. We also have other members of the Elevaid team here to join into that Q&A, and then we'll let you know what the next steps are. So hopefully you've heard some about Elevaid if you're here, but if not, Elevaid is it's a Netherlands-based software and consulting company founded in 2024 with the mission of enhancing the effectiveness and aid delivery through innovation, AI, and AI-powered solutions. The company specializes in automating M&E processes, enabling impact-driven organizations to respond more effectively to global development challenges amid increasing funding constraints and complex crises. The Elevaid team combines decades of experience in evaluation, international development, AI, and software engineering. Their AI-powered platform transforms how development programs are planned, monitored, and evaluated, automating log frame and theory of change creation, data collection, and real-time analyses to enable faster, more actionable insights. Elevaid is guided by the simple principle: better evidence leads to better decisions, and better decisions ensure that aid reaches those who need it most, in time and at scale.
Thank you very much, Paul.
You're very welcome. So I'll pass it over to Armen to give a little bit more and to do our live demo.
Hello, everybody. Thank you very much for being here. It's an honor to be here with you. So as Paul introduced, my name is Armen. I'm an evaluation expert myself. I've been working for more of a decade in the evaluation, monitoring and evaluation sector, working with different agencies, UN agencies, international organizations, international financing organizations, RFIs, NGOs, etc. And so my problem very often was that to what degree evaluations are being used and to what degree the results of evaluations actually serve the needs of those implementable projects and programs. So when I started to do a PhD research on that topic, and Elevaid was actually born from that research. Yeah, let me start the presentation deck, and then I'll keep you. 1 second. So as I was saying, Uh, we were founded in 2004 in order to help development actors to work faster and better. And the core of our functionality is using AI-powered automation, and that's primarily focused on making decision-making faster. So in order to enable organizations to have a much faster, let's say, access to information and insights which can be used during humanitarian crisis or humanitarian or development program implementation processes. So Elevaid is, as was started with me, and together with Rashad, we have continued this process. Mohammed, who's an AI engineer with a lot of experience in developing AI tools, and so that's how it started. Why now? As you know, there is the being more, let's say, doing more with less is ever more critical, and in a situation that a lot of organizations are facing funding gaps.
Armin, sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Can you check the permissions on the chat? It's not showing up on my end, and I'm not seeing others. And I know I want to make sure that people can be writing in questions as they come up while you're presenting.
Just 1 second, Marquis. I have to stop the presentation.
Sorry for the technical difficulties, everyone. There we go. All right. Other people can see it just fine. Never mind. Keep going.
Okay. All right. So anyways, decision making. Very often, as I said, one of the main issues was that decision making doesn't really benefit from rigorous insights and evaluations. Evaluation results were often already obsolete when they were out, because it takes a long time to collect data, to analyze data, and in order to feed back the information back into the decision making and programming cycles. So very often, the use of evaluations was not as effective as it could have been, and I thought, or we thought, that this could be done much better. Let's say in terms of quickening the process of data collection in order to do fast deep analysis in hours instead of, let's say, weeks, doing evaluations in days, or even anyways in a much shorter time lapse than it was done already, and with a lot less resources in order to make evaluations accessible to much more organizations, and more often than it is done. And so we had a lot of, we were thinking also about the idea of allowing monitoring of projects to be done, let's say, much longer after the end of an intervention. So let's say having data collection, etc., when there is not a lot of money to do data collection, being in touch with the beneficiaries when a particular intervention is over. And in order to give, let's say, all these insights in a very, let's say, tangible manner, in terms of that it can be accessible all the time, right away. And we came up with Elevaid. And the idea of Elevaid is to have one-stop AI solution that includes solutions for data collection, analysis, reporting, and dissemination. Right now, we've in the stage of development of our MVP. We stand for the minimum viable product. This is, let's say, the initial. It's a technical term describing that it's the, let's say, initial stage of development of the tool, and this MVP is what I'm going to show you today. So I hope you can see my screen. So this is, let's say, the environment of Elevaid. This is after when you, as a user, log in with your information, you come on board, and you will see your recent works. and you will have, let's say, on one side you have your M&E tools, and then you have the data collection tools, and then also the administration. Right now, we have also simultaneously we've been working on the monitoring aspects of Elevaid, next to, let's say, having already developed the evaluation aspect. Because for us, evaluation was the aspect that was, more often needing more kind of resources and attention than monitoring, which often focuses on quantitative information, and there are tools for that. But the purpose of Elevaid was to support evaluations, particularly at the same time adding qualitative data analysis into the monitoring aspect. So with that said, you will be able to, when you're doing monitoring, you'll be able to also answer the why and how. If you are having, let's say, a vaccination project, and you know that you, for example, did 3,000 vaccinations, I often use this example instead of 5,000, but you very often do not have very fast, let's say, accessible information from your monitoring, why that is the case, what are the problems that you're facing, and how this can be. So the why and the how is very often within the qualitative data, which often is not included in the existing monitoring tools. But at this stage, we are working on a monitoring tool, which you hopefully will be integrating into the Elevaid's platform soon. But the MVP in terms of the evaluation part is there. So we have a couple of features, 5 features that are the core of the evaluation aspect. That's the theory of change, the evaluation matrix, the evidence matrix, the M&E action plan, and the logical framework. All of them work with the idea of you feed the platform information that you have. For example, with the theory of change, you operate some information about the intervention that you're implementing, and the theory of change tool generates the aspects of how the intervention will generate its impact. So let's say the theory of change, how the intervention will bring the change that you are looking for. And the same logic works with every other tool. So let's say the evaluation matrix, for those of you who know what it is, or do not know, or not familiar with the term, the evaluation matrix is a let's say framework that we as evaluators develop. Very often it's an approach to developing the framework of the evaluation. So it's a matrix where you say, okay, these are the questions that you're going to answer. Let's say these are the sub questions that you need to be able to answer, and these are the indicators and the judgment criteria according to which we are going to judge whether something happened or did not happen. So it's a framework that allows you to have a transparent way of answering questions that you can share with all the let's say, stakeholders of the evaluation. And this is done primarily, let's say, in the beginning of the evaluation process, and in order to, let's say, have a solid base based on which you do evaluations. By the way, we are going to, we want to, and the idea is that we want to use the same approach to answering other questions. So whether it is within the evaluation sector or outside, evaluation particular purpose, or outside of it, you can create similar matrices in order to answer any type of a question. So that's also what we can discuss later on during the presentation or the talk, in order to answer other type of questions that are not particularly evaluation focused. And in terms of I will go through each of these functions. One of the functions that does stand out, let's say, in terms of its power of saving time and power of processing and AI, let's say, complexity, is the evidence matrix. So by saying evidence matrix is, we mean by a database where all the evidence for answering a particular question, let's say in the evaluation context, is gathered. So for example, if you're doing document review, you have your documents. Based on reading documents, what I used to do, and this is also the cornerstone of Elevaid, is it's particularly let's say based on how evaluators do their work. So you would go through the documents, you would read something, you would take some information, you would keep it, and then you will collect all this information in order to do an analysis in the end. And evidence matrix is basically the same. It's not only focused on documents. What I would show you today is on documents, but you can do the same with data collection. So for example, it will add, let's say you collected the primary data that you will collect into the database based on which you can do the changes. All right. So let's go, and then we can discuss each feature more during as we do our demo. So in terms of the theory of change, the you can create a theory of change. And then, by the way, you can do this also in the, let's say, before I continue, you have the feature of projects. You can do this within a project. Let's say if you're having a monitoring of projects, you can use it, the database of that particular project, and you don't have to do, let's say, upload a lot of documents, etc. You can stay within the environment. I will show you that of that particular project in order to use the data and store it inside a particular project environment and the users of that project. But you can also use it as a standalone tool. So you can generate, let's say, theories of change for not necessarily related to a monitoring project. So this is the standalone aspect that I'm going to show you. So what do you need for a theory of change? You need to have some kind of a description of the intervention that you are implementing. So for this, you can upload whether it is already in the library within Elevaid, or you can upload it from the computer. You can upload, let's say, a folder or a document. In this case, it is what I'm going to upload is a document from my computer. It's a project description of the project in Tajikistan. And the technology, what it does is it's I mean, we can Rashad can give you also more explanation in terms of the technical aspects, particular. It parses the information, it takes the information out of the document, it analyzes it, and then it generates the output in terms of, in this case, the theory of change. So how does a particular intervention generate a theory of change? It takes a couple of minutes to do so. I hope we can do it quickly. While it is working, I can show you another theory of change that I generated already. So let me share my other screen. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yeah.
So so in terms of, let's say, this would be the outputs and the outcomes, and okay, so we already do the other ones. Here, let's see what you are seeing. Security lab. All right. And so as you see, the tool allows you to generate a figure, let's say, in a more visible kind of a way, how your theory of change looks like, and what kind of inputs you have, the different levels of inputs that go into, let's say, creating the change that you perceive. You can play around with it. You can add new components. You can change the components if you don't think that this is correct. And in this way, the theory of change tool allows you to create a much more, let's say, clear or visible picture of how you perceive that you're going to create the change. And this is something that you can share with your team. You can do, let's say, you can have discussions on this, change it, and then at the same time, the idea is that you can do, let's say, a generation of a theory of change, begin in the beginning of, let's say, using a particular project description, and then after that, by adding more documentation, you can reconstruct the theory of change that you've already of an intervention that you already created based on just a project document. So you can have a look, let's say, in terms of, okay, what have been the changes, let's say, in terms of how we changed our approach to generating the same the impact that we were looking for. And so yeah, it's a tool that you can use both, let's say, just to design your project, but at the same time you can use it to do an evaluation in terms of looking at the changes that occur in throughout the project in terms of how you generate change. In terms of the let's go to the next tool, which is the evaluation matrix. Again, the same logic applies. So the idea is that you come up that you provide the tool with the document. There you, for example, have the requirements for a particular evaluation that you want to do, or the questions that you need to answer, basically. So for this, you can, for example, yeah, this is a sample of a TOR of a recent evaluation that I did, let's say, to evaluating the NSDCF in Armenia, and the tool allows you to, let's say, also change the structure of an evaluation matrix based on your own personal preferences or organizational requirements. Let's say some require lines of inquiry, the other ones don't want your, let's say, a particular component within the evaluation matrix. Here you can, let's say, select the standard ones or add, let's say, additional lines of inquiries or key assumptions, etc. Again, you upload or you select the document based on that. In this case, in order to do an evaluation matrix, I will upload the TOR of this particular assignment, where the purpose of the evaluation is described. And again, with the same logic, you can the tool will start to work to retrieve, let's say, the questions, the sub questions, let's say, evaluation methodologies, etc. Everything that was specified in the document, and based on that, let's say, if there is no specific methodology, it will again it will generate that. So, for example, based on industry standards or best practice, if it is, let's say, a question that will require, let's say, speaking to the beneficiaries, it will design the evaluation matrix for that particular, let's say, purpose, to do a survey or to do focus group discussions, etc. So we can so, for example, for the same as the CF evaluation matrix. All right. So let's say, so you have, let's say, in terms of the basic criteria, let's say, for an evaluation. You have the relevance, adaptability, coherence, effectiveness, let's say, from what the particular TOR is asking, let's say. And then you have the sub-questions generated. You have the judgment criteria, the indicators, and the data sources, let's say. And then also the collection methods that you need to use. Why this is important to have collection methods? Because we also are going to use, let's say, an evaluation matrix in the future. We have the data collection tools in terms of the surveys, etc. But the idea is to have a complete evaluation matrix. Based on that, the tool will also generate the data collection tools for you. So, for example, if you have questionnaires, the questionnaires will be generated at the same time. It will allow you to deploy it. This is something that we're still working on. We have the questionnaire development tool, but the automatic deployment based on the AI and connecting this to the evaluation matrix, we're still working on. The same, for example, to do interviews. One of the problems that we as evaluators face is the limitation of time in terms of how many people we can speak to within a particular time frame of an evaluation that we usually have. So very often you start to make, let's say, compromises in terms of who you can speak. You try to understand. You try to speak to the people that you think that will be the most knowledgeable, etc., and that you exclude others. The idea is that you will be able to generate the evaluation protocol. Based on that, the tool will deploy the interview, let's say, tool. People will be called, or they will receive a link. They can talk to the AI avatar. We've done this prototype. I can send you this also, let's say, separately, while we will have, let's say, demo consultations together if you would like to. And so the interview will be conducted by the AI avatar. So the avatar will speak to the people. The information will be collected, come back into the tool again, into the evidence matrix, and then being analyzed. So I don't want to go too much into that, but this is, let's say, the evaluation matrix tool. Going further to the evidence matrix tool, this is one of the most important, I think, aspects of Elevaid, is that it allows you to do the desk review for you. So the idea is that you will, first of all, the first section of the evaluation matrix tool is that you upload your documentation. Based on that, it will very quickly, let's say, within a matter of hours now, depending, of course, on the amount of documents that you put in, let's say, it will give you all the information relevant to a particular question and indicators, etc., that you're asking, in order to give you, let's say, also a gap analysis, in order for you to understand what's going on. At the same time, be able to understand what are the data gaps that you need to collect primary data for. And then in the next second stage, you can add, the tool will allow you to have the data collected. Let's say if you interview people, your interview notes, AI generated notes will be going into the database, and then the same can be done, the same type of analysis can be done based on the evidence matrix, in order to also take into account, let's say, your primary data, and in order to help you, in order to allow you to do, let's say, your full to close your full evaluation cycle. So by saying that, we can go into the process. You click on create a new evidence matrix. Again, for an evidence matrix, the model needs to understand what it is that you are trying to evaluate. Let's say what kind of evidence it needs to retrieve and present. So for that, you need an evaluation matrix. If you do not have an evaluation matrix, the model allows you or helps you to create an evaluation matrix for that purpose. So you have an evaluation matrix. You can just upload it here. In this case, I will upload again, the evaluation matrix for the UNSCCF. And then the model also asks you to upload, let's say, the database. So if you have your database already in Elevaid, if it's a project that you're implementing and your information is here, you can just select that. Or it's an evaluation that you've been already implementing, you can select that information. Or otherwise, if it's just standalone, you can just upload this information, whether it is in folders or files. In this case, I will select a folder, and I will select the UNSDCF background documents. Just for the sake of clarity, these are, let's say, for example, the country framework annual reports. It doesn't show here because I selected folder. It doesn't show the files, and the interagency reports. And I think the annual reports are 5 annual reports from UNSDCF implementation in Armenia for the last 5 years. And then you also have the interagency updates there. So you can just select the folder. What it will do, it says, hey, you have 29 files that you're adding to this. It will upload, will go to the UNSDCF background documents, and then just do that. All right, so I'm sorry, I forgot to evidence matrix UNSDCF test. Today is 606. And then you can just start to generate the evidence matrix. So first of all, the first stage is it will generate the questions that you need to, or not to generate, it will retrieve the questions from the evaluation matrix that you've already provided it to. And right now we're working on to, let's say, improve our UI better. And in this case, you will have the ability to revise anything if for any reason this or not, let's say this needs to be changed, or there is some kind of ambiguity, or there is some kind of something that you want to change within the retrieved information from the evaluation matrix, you can do so. And after that, it will you can go to the next stage of feeding the, or retrieving the information from the documents in order to save time and save effort, let's say. So just for you to be able to have, let's say, complete control of all the features, of all the steps that the tool is doing. So let's say, as you can see, there are 23 questions extracted from the evaluation matrix. The first one is the CF doing the right things and adapted well to emerging needs, alignment with national priorities, etc. These are the sub-questions or indicators you have in the evaluation matrix. How well does the CF fit, etc. You can revise it here, or you can delete it if you think it's not clear. You can add it. Also add questions or add indicators. Let's say, in order to direct the tool to do exactly what you want, to answer exactly the type of information, or to retrieve the type of information that you want. A core principle here is it's not a to not have a black box solution, because very often people think, oh, it's AI, it's not clear how it does, where the information comes from, etc. So there is no any kind of generation. The purpose or Elevaid's work has been in order to do retrieval without generation, without hallucinations of the model. So the information that will become the results, as you will see, I will show you, will be your first of all, you're completely in control throughout the process, what the questions are, what the evidence matrix or the evaluation matrix looks like, etc., etc. At the same time, you are also fully aware of what information you get before doing the analysis, and where the information comes from. So this is still the evidence matrix is still not the analysis. This is preparation for the analysis. So as you will see the questions, and you can add or delete questions. You also see the evidence source documents or sources from where you get the information from. By the way, the data collection tools that I will show you that later. It also allows you to, for example, take information from online sources. So, for example, if you're reading an article online, it's not printed, it's not, let's say, it's not a document that you download. It allows you to take the content, to use the information again, according to the any type of standards for using, and if you're allowed to use it, you can just save it in your database, and it will save it as a document that you can later on also refer to as a source. So, and take it into account into the evidence matrix and the analysis process. So with that, I want to say that you are not, I mean, it allows you to take information from internet. It allows you to upload, let's say, information that you have already from your database or from your projects. At the same time, it allows you to collect new information. So that's, let's say, these are the primary, let's say, or you use with the information that you have, or you collect new information, of course, in order to be able to answer a particular question. So anyways, these are the documents. And then if you're okay with everything, you say generate evidence matrix. As I say, this is a long process. It's the model will start extracting information from each document, for each question from each document. And in order to give you an overview of, let's say, what kind of results we could expect from here, I can go to an already generated evidence matrix. For example, here. And what you will see here is, let's say this is the name of a particular report. Let's say UN country analysis annual result report. And then you will see, okay, so the first, let's say, question or indicator was evidence of regular reporting on results and resources, for example. And so if you will see information based on the source that was analyzed first. It's not based on, let's say, the first question that you ask. If there is information on the first question, you will see it if relevant information was in the document on that first question. Otherwise, you will see just let's say the first document results, and if there is no information for the, let's say, the first, second, or third question, you don't see anything from that. So it jumps right away to the first result that it gets. So you will see the name of the document, where the results are. You'll see what the information is about. Let's say so the section page state in the first year, if I mean the question was about comprehensive reporting on resource utilization, for example. The first year of the investigation implemented, is secured, let's say, so much information, and you see any kind of relevant information that the model thinks that this is relevant to that particular question or to that particular indicator. And so now you can also, let's say, ignore it, delete it, or say this is not relevant, in order for not to feed this into the later stages of the analysis part. And right now we have this already working on, but we didn't push it just to make sure that we have some stable environment where you can see the results. So the evidence matrix is you will see it as a text-based, let's say, visual, where you will see the results, where you will see a summary, which is based on this information that you approve or disapprove, retrieve from the documents or from your notes. And you will see you can see data gaps, and you can also ask the model. I mean, you can change this, let's say, factors that you want the model to look at, let's say, in the analysis. So whether it's data gaps, whether it's recommendations, etc., etc. And just for the sake of time, I want to also keep some time for the question and answer. You will see, let's say, for the M&E action plan, you can, again, the same flow. You upload a log frame based on the log frame, you generate an M&E action plan in terms of how your action plan is going to look like. And the same is also with log frame. I can show you the log frame here. For example, for a log frame, you upload your project design, and just let's say in terms of what you intend to do, what are the activities, and based on that, also you will see, let's say, indicators, etc. Okay, I think that's in terms of the M&E tools. Let me go quickly into the data collection tools. You have the questionnaire. Yeah, we disabled it here. But anyways, you will have the data entry. This is the monitoring component where you will have, let's say, fields of information that you ask particular project implementation managers, etc., to feed it in, and then the information will come back. We will have very soon here the tool of online scrapping, but this is, we didn't want to, let's say, push this yet, as this is still a functioning or the let's say prototype environment. And then you have here these are also the monitoring aspects, the indicators, the categories, organizations. These are, let's say, this is the logic of how we can not to accumulate, but how we can account for particular, let's say, indicator results in the monitoring. So if you have, let's say, something on an output level, how this can, let's say, be counted for the whole organization in different branches, etc. So let's say management of the data that goes into the monitoring aspects, and what are the entities that are reporting this, what are the organizations, etc. And then also the management. So that's it, basically. I want to give the floor back to Paul in order to go to the question and answers. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Armen. Appreciate the overview, and I know for those of you who are still on the call, hopefully you're starting to understand how powerful Elevaid is. It can really save a lot of time. And that's, so one question I wanted to ask is how do you estimate, first, also I put in the chat, if you're joining us, please, if you feel comfortable, let us know where you're joining from, what organizations you work with. We'd love for you all to be able to connect with one another, and we'd love to connect with you. But Armen, how much time can Elevaid save? For example, with the desk review, you know, what kind of time can Elevaid save? How long does Elevaid take to do the desk review, look at the previous documentation? How much would it take a normal person trying to do that work? How long would it take for them to do it? Armen, you're on mute.
So sorry about that. The idea is that it will save you a lot of time, and the document reviews can take weeks, and it depends, of course, on the amount of documents or information that you need to review. But these are usually hundreds of documents for a particular evaluation that you have to go through. The idea is that you can do this in hours and or minutes, depending on the amount of documentation. So it is let's say, a very, very large difference. It can make a very large difference in for evaluators or for organizations who want to, let's say, do evaluations.
Okay, great. Thank you. Again, if you all have questions, please reach out. I do see a lot of people putting in their information, so I appreciate that. We have a question in terms of the evidence sources. Can I upload already the coded desk review or documents? For example, if I code my documents with MAXQDA first, can I upload only these coded segments instead of using the full original documents?
Yeah, of course. I mean, you can upload information that you have. It's not restricted. It doesn't have to be structured. It doesn't have to be. We don't. It's just textual. Let's say qualitative information. So the more, let's say, form filtering you've done, the more let's say less context you provide the model, so it can be very clear in terms of the outputs that it generates. But the idea is that you provide that it saves you as much as time as possible. So the idea is that you do let's say spend less time and not to do, let's say, all the work yourself and then provide this information to the model or to the tool. Yeah.
Okay, great. And that leads to another question. How adaptable is Elevaid? If organizations already have their own templates, their own formats for these various M&E tools, is Elevaid able to adapt to those?
Yeah, I mean, it's in terms of tools, it can be adapted. Let's say in terms of if we're speaking about the logical framework, you can have, let's say, your whole, you can upload your own template. The idea is that you provide the model, let's say, the structure of the output that you expected to generate for you. At the same time, it can also be adapted and for a particular organization's environment. By environment, I mean the IT environment and software environment. So if you have, let's say, a monitoring product or a tool where you collect a lot of information, the idea is that Elevaid will be customized in terms of, let's say, connecting to your M&E infrastructure and allow you to do analysis, let's say, based on. So if you have knowledge management, information management, let's say, within an organization, it can be connected to each other in order to do the same functionality more efficiently and provide you feedback and insight based on the information that is already there.
Great, thank you. And we have another question. How does Elevaid deal with hallucination, and how do you know that it's not hallucinating?
So the first thing is that if it's not, I mean, it's not a black box approach. So we don't provide it with information or ask a question and then expect an answer out of the blue. It's the same stages that an evaluator implements when doing an evaluation. So what you do is you read a document, you take this information, you make note of the information, you collect it, you gather it, etc. And so wherever there is an output, there is a source and reference for this particular, let's say, output. So you can go back, check whether this is accurate. If it's not accurate, you can just take it out. If it's not context related, if the tool didn't understand the context, if it's not related to this particular indicator, let's say if you're doing an evaluation for a particular, let's say you're asking questions for a particular topic, and at the same, so first of all, the process is structured in a way that it's not a black box process. So you can, in each step, the evaluator or the user is managing and controlling the process. And I think Mohammed has raised this question. I think that's awesome. He can also answer, let's say, from a technical perspective, how the AI works in order to minimize hallucination.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Arman, for the presentation. Hello, everyone. I'm Mohammed Rashad, the CTO at Elevaid. And for this question, actually, this was one of our biggest challenges building Elevaid, how we can decrease the hallucinations moving forward. So, as Arman said, we are we're building it in a white box approach. But one important step that we do, and you may notice it in the sample that Arman was showing, we do a reflection step. So after the output is generated, we have two steps. The first, we force the model to not alter any part of the text. So whatever we are getting from the file stays as is, just with the reference next to it. And the second, we cross-reference whatever was generated with the document again. So if we are not able to find this in the document we discarded. So you will find in some of the results that were shown, you will say question and there is no evidence found for this question. It may have generated something, but with the reflection step, we remove it because we cannot cross-reference it to the ground or to the ground truth that we have. And this is, again, what an evaluator would do, building the evidence matrix. So this technique is one strand that we have. Whatever we generate, we make sure it's grounded. And also this, we call it like direct retrieval, where we do not make the model generate its opinion or generate a summary about facts. We make it get the facts, extract the facts as is, and put it in the answer. These two approaches together decrease the hallucinations we on our benchmark by around 90%. So yeah, this is one thing. Also, if you want to try it, we would be happy to have a demo together. We can show you your document, like we can try on your document, and then we can cross-reference live on the results, and yeah, and show you how it works from our side. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Mohammed. We have a couple questions dealing with the way the Elevaid works, and I'll combine them because I think they're answering similar concerns and giving more information. So the first is, what is operating at the back end? Is it ChatGPT, Notebook LM? Appreciate it if you could describe what's happening at the back end. And we also have a question, is whether the model is learning from what is uploaded. For i.e., are there privacy confidentiality concerns, or is all the data uploaded considered secure according to the commonly used standards?
Okay, both are interesting questions. So let me first, because actually, as you said, Paul, they are both answered in the same direction. So we have two versions of Elevaid. We have the cloud version, which Arman is showing. People can sign up and everything. And this one, we're using Gemini. We tried many other things, but currently we're using Gemini reasoning models. And we have our own backend. So the system is basically the data source or the data store that we have documents uploaded in. We have our own custom logic. This is what makes Elevaid. And we have a model. The model that we are currently using is Gemini, one of Gemini models, that we have our own steps to make it work the way that we want to work. And in the local version, we install DeepSeek with it. So we use DeepSeek fully locally, so it will be on your server, on your machine, on your side with zero access to the internet. Currently, we're using an approach in the RAG family. So it's not your traditional RAG with a vector database and so, but we are using RAG-like approach, we like to call it. And we have our logic with it. This is for the model part. For the privacy, confidentiality concerns and so on, if you want to opt for this, you can install the local version. So this one runs on Windows, runs on Linux, and can run it on Ubuntu, on Windows computers and so on. And this comes with two options. The first is if you want to install it in a laptop, this will force you to use a smaller model, which is less powerful. So you can use like Gemma 3, 2.5 models and similar. These are less powerful, but they will do the work. And if you have a powerful machine, so your organization has servers, they can be Windows server or Linux server, we can install the full-fledged service with DeepSeek models. Again, we have other, like if you have concerns about models, we are happy to switch to Quen or any other model. But our experiments show that DeepSeek is the only model currently that is on par with Gemini in reasoning in this domain. So it gives the best performance. So yeah, this is how we do it. To summarize, we have the cloud version running our own custom recipe plus Gemini. The local version runs again our custom recipe plus a model for your choice. Our recommendation is DeepSeek.
Yeah, and to make it a little bit more. Thank you, Mohammed, for the explanation. Of course, what I wanted to add, it's not. Mohammed already said this. Is just that the fact that whether you share information or not is particularly, let's say, managed from the perspective of how you manage the tool. So for this purpose, if you're interested, we can offer you the option of having a local installation on your servers of Elevaid in order to make sure, but if your servers are secure, your data is secure. It's not Elevaid, it's not, let's say, dependent. So there will be, if you use it locally, there will be no information coming out. So there will be no, let's say, training of a general model based on your information. You can be, you can, that's the assurance that you will have in terms of, let's say, sharing your information. But of course, you can also have the option to use it, let's say, as others do, if you do not have issues or problems with sharing your information.
Great. Thank you all so much. I do want to be respectful of people's time. And so if you're interested and you have other questions and you want to continue the conversation, those of us from Elevaid will stay on and will continue. But I wanted to briefly ask Armen, what are the next steps? If people are interested in Armen, interested in Elevaid, how can they get an in-depth demo? How can they learn how to apply it to their own organization, whether they have M&E practices already implemented it and how to adapt it? So what are the next steps?
So yeah, it's a very good one, Paul John. Let me for that. So I will go back to the slides, and for that I would say, first of all, we wanted to do a lot of testing. At the same time, we're going to build new features. And for this, we are looking for partners to discuss what are the exact features that they want and can do the testing together. We want to also, while we're doing the testing from a user perspective and from the use perspective, we want to generate insights in terms of application of AI in the evaluation sector. So we're going to do research, practical evaluations using this. And after that, we want to do scale up. Something in terms of scale up, it means larger use, but at the same time also making more use of it. So what we want to do, if we have, let's say, the capacity as an organization, that's why also we need partners. We are a small startup. In order to be able to, AI is expensive in terms of, let's say, not the tool that we are working on so much, but in general, using AI, it's not free. So why I'm saying this is that one of the next steps is to allowing organizations to do analysis of large-scale publicly available databases. So not just your own information, not just your own organization, but to do research and studies, evaluations based on publicly available information, let's say large databases in terms of programs, projects that are being implemented, etc. So kind of have a creation of a data cooperative could be an aspect of that as well, if different organizations want to cooperate. And so new features also in terms of data collection, as I was saying, in terms of fast need assessments, phone interviews during the crisis, people can be reached fast, needs can be analyzed, testing, working on the rigor, and scaling up. Those are the next steps. Thank you.
Great. Thank you so much. Also, please make sure you connect with us on LinkedIn. We're there, and the Elevaid.ai website is up. We're always developing, always improving, but if you'd like to look around and see what we have right now, you're always welcome to come and explore. We did have, so yes, thank you all for being here. We do have a couple more questions, which I think in the chat, which I think would be helpful. One is whether Elevaid is only available in English right now, whether it's available or can be available in the future in other languages.
Yeah, no problem with that. I think that's as you know, AI is not language restricted in terms of, let's say, of course there are languages that are covered more, better, etc., etc. This is a development that is going on. The languages and the performance of models are improving. And so, yeah, currently our interface is completely in English, but we can change that, and we can also, this doesn't affect our performance, let's say. We are as good as the models are in terms of their coverage of languages. And yeah, in terms of answering your question from that regard.
Okay, great. And one last question that was in the chat is whether the model could eventually run on Microsoft 365 Copilot Enterprise. I think you spoke about having Elevaid installed in servers, but do we know about that specific interface, whether it's something that's on the radar or something that's viable?
As I was saying, we can integrate it, no problem at all.
Okay, great. Nice, concrete answer. Okay, well, if there are any other questions, thank you all so much. As I said, please stay in contact. Thank you for giving your information in the chat. We'll try to connect with folks and have a great day.